Santa Fe residents will decide next week whether to approve a new tax on drinks that include added sugars. Most people call it a soda tax, but it wouldn't just apply to sodas. The tax is the only thing on the ballot in a special city election, and it stirred up an intense debate online and around the capital city. Producer Sarah Gustava sat down this week with Daniel Chacon. He's of the Santa Fe New Mexican to discuss his reporting on this issue and the atmosphere surrounding the campaigns both for and against it.
Daniel Chacon, reporter with the Santa Fe New Mexican. Thanks for stopping by this week.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
For those of us who don't live in Santa Fe and have been watching this debate over the soda tax from afar, what's it like in Santa Fe, on the streets, in the stores? What are you seeing right now?
Well, if you live, work, or even visit Santa Fe, you really can't go anywhere without knowing that the city is considering a soda tax to fund preschool programs. You hop in your car, turn on the radio, you're gonna hear an ad. You check your mailbox, you're probably gonna find a really big glossy colored mailer. You go to the grocery store, the clerks will tell you how much the price of a can of soda is gonna go up if this tax goes into effect. You pick up your phone, you pick up the phone at home, and people are calling you, people are knocking on doors. It is soda tax, soda tax, soda tax all the time. I jokingly say that Santa Fe has turned into Soda Fe.
And from both sides, for and against it.
Absolutely. There are two political action committees that are on opposite sides of this issue that are campaigning unlike anything that we've seen in Santa Fe before. Just around the clock campaigning is what it seems like.
Santa Fe is not the first city. Boulder, Berkeley, Philadelphia, and those were contentious debates as well. How'd you kind of prepare to cover this?
Well, I reached out to folks that were involved with these initiatives in other cities just to kind of get an idea of what I was going to expect. And they did say, you know, you're going to see huge amounts of money pour into this campaign. You know, they predicted just lots of mailers and just all sorts of campaigning, but it's very strange to sort of see it on the ground. It's unlike anything I've seen before.
Interesting.
Especially for a city the size of Santa Fe.
And so what would the tax do? What are kind of the basics?
So the proposal calls for a 2 cents per ounce tax on sugar-sweetened beverages. So it's not just sodas. The tax would affect other drinks such as Gatorade, Frappuccinos at Starbucks. It also would affect powdered drinks such as Country Time lemonade, Lipton iced tea. So just any kind of drink that has large amounts of sugar that the tax would affect.
Added sugar. And it's at the distributor level, so there's still some uncertainty about exactly how that would be passed on to the consumers and in what way.
Right, so
Yeah.
the tax is on distributors. The thinking is that the tax would be passed on to consumers. To what extent, we don't know. We have seen in other cities that have passed soda taxes that most, if not a large percentage of the tax does get passed on to the consumer. And the idea here is that the proposal would raise $7 million a year to send some 966 3- and 4-year-olds to preschool programs in Santa Fe.
Soda taxes in other cities have been passed really with just the intention of reducing soda consumption and addressing obesity, which they've also said they want to do here, but the pre-K thing is different.
The pre-K thing is different. We have seen in other cities where it's been targeted for health reasons. The mayor who is championing this proposal has talked about how this proposal has two benefits. One is obviously the health benefit, and the second being that we get to send hundreds of children who wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to go to preschools. So it's sort of he pitches this as the health benefits as an added benefit.
All right, so that's the argument for it. What are the arguments against it that you're seeing in those mailers and campaigns?
One of the biggest arguments about it is that it's a regressive tax, that it will hurt poor or lower and middle income people who tend to buy sodas and who tend to buy these kinds of sugary drinks more. So I think that's probably the biggest argument, is that it would be a regressive tax. The folks that are opposing this proposal also say that the city has surplus revenue and that's a better way to fund the program. There are obviously counters to that argument that a lot of that money that the city has that anticipates in surplus revenue is restricted and wouldn't be able to be used for preschool programs.
You mentioned a minute ago money. There has been a lot of money raised for both sides. Where do things stand right now in the final week before this special election?
Well, both sides have passed the $1 million mark. The group that's promoting the tax has received most of its funding from Michael Bloomberg, who, as you know, is the former New York City mayor. He's a billionaire. He has contributed over $1 million to this effort in both cash and in-kind contributions. The other group, which is opposing the tax, is largely funded by the American Beverage Association. In fact, it is pretty much just entirely funded by the American Beverage Association, which again has also contributed over $1 million in cash and in-kind contributions. Next week, the day before the election, is another reporting deadline. So we'll get a much better sense at that point, even how much more money has been spent. So time will tell exactly how much money has been poured into this race.
We'll keep our eye on that one. There's also been a little bit of controversy over who had to file, whether or not they'd cross the threshold of needing to file. It's been a complicated story.
It has been a complicated story, and it has really tested the city's campaign code. One of the groups that has not yet filed is the Rio Grande Foundation, which is based here in Albuquerque, and their contention is that as a 501c3, they don't have to file. And they also said that they didn't meet the threshold to have to file a campaign finance disclosure report. The City Ethics and Campaign Review Board found that they violated the city campaign code and ordered them to file a report. They have yet to do it, so that's sort of another story that we'll have to see how that plays out.
And there have been accusations on both sides of, saying that the other side is being disingenuous or spreading misinformation. How have you monitored that, and how do you convey to the public this is what's going on for both sides?
Well, it's a daily task just because of so much campaign material that's out there. Just recently, I did a story that really took both sides to task for half-truths in their campaign material. So my responsibility as a journalist, I feel, is to just give people as much information about just the facts and really try to set them straight on what this proposal would do.
What are those half-truths that you covered?
Well, one of them, for example, is the Pre-K for Santa Fe group that's pushing the proposed tax has called it a 2-cent tax. It's, I believe they refer to it as only a 2-cent tax. Well, it's a 2 cents per ounce tax. That's a big difference. The other group, the Better Way for Santa Fe and Pre-K, has argued that the city's surplus revenue could be used to fund this program. But if you talk to the mayor and other city officials, including members of the City Finance Committee, they will tell you that these funds are restricted and cannot be used for this program.
And if it does pass next week, what will happen? What needs to happen to collect those taxes and implement the program in Santa Fe?
Well, the city will contract with a third-party contractor that will pretty much oversee the program. There will be the creation of a task force, or a commission, that will help develop the regulations or the requirements on how this money would be distributed. So there's still a lot of work if this proposal passes. So I've been extremely busy in the last couple of months, and if this proposal passes, I will continue to be busy.
Early voting has been underway. What was it at as of Thursday this week for early voting?
I believe it was approaching 5,000. As the City Hall reporter, I visit City Hall on a very regular basis, probably some people think maybe too much. And I visit the city clerk's office just to get a sense of what they're seeing, how many people are coming in, and I'm seeing a really steady stream of voters come in to participate in early voting. Of course, the election is May 2nd. I expect, much greater numbers after May 2nd.
We will keep our eye on that one, and we'll put links to your reporting up on our website, newmexicoinfocus.org.
Thank you so much, and of course we'll have complete coverage on SantaFeNewMexican.com from here on out, and of course on May 2nd.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much.